Now that you know what narrative nonfiction is, that is kind of a blending of fiction and nonfiction, where you're telling a story that is true with lots of facts about things that actually happened, um, but it's not 100% factual because you're making up things that the characters say and stuff like that. So it's not completely nonfiction, but it is also not completely fiction. So now that you know what that kind of book is, and I bet you've read some of those books, I want to teach you that readers use different ways of reading depending on if their nonfiction text is a teaching kind of text or a story. So nonfiction story readers use their knowledge of how stories go. We talked about the story mountain, right? Um, to help them understand the text. So let's refer to our chart here. You rev up your mind, right? And you think, what sort of text is this? First, you have to figure out what kind of book you're going to read. And then you read the text features and think to yourself, what is this book going to be about? That helps your brain know how you're going to fit the pieces of information together. It helps you hang on to information if you think about it that way. Then you're going to recall prior knowledge and build expectations. So that's what you're doing is you're telling your brain, okay, we're going to think about this stuff. You're gonna use what you already know about stories like these. Stories have characters, stories have a setting, stories have a problem. You think about what's going to happen, what goes wrong. Usually there's some problem in a story, and then there's a solution. You're thinking about that, but you're thinking about it in terms of your narrative nonfiction. So here are a couple of Post-its that some kids wrote. One says, Thomas Jefferson is a very shy person. That student learned something about a real person based on a narrative nonfiction book that he read. Here's another one. Thomas Jefferson is a shy person. Maybe it's because so this is the same one, except for this time he added, maybe it's because he was working in many situations and with people who he didn't know. So this student went back, which is fantastic, and I hope you're doing this at home. He went back and said, oh, you know what? I remember when I wrote this, and now I know why. So this kind of thinking is what I hope that you're doing. So here's, on the next slide, there's a video that I already made. And what I'd like for you to do when you finish listening to this one is think about how you can engage yourself in your reading. And you're going to watch this video. And that's it for my lesson today. But I hope that if you're reading some narrative nonfiction, or if you're not, go find some. You know those big head books? I call them the big head biography books. They're the books that have the characters with the really big head. Those are fantastic narrative nonfiction books because they're written in a way that is kind of like a story, but it's really, really factual, and you can learn a ton about each person. So anyway, I hope you enjoy your reading today. Again, you don't have to read nonfiction all the time, but please try to read a little bit of nonfiction today, and remember to fill in your reading log, and remember to add to our Padlet. All right.